Hello everybody, welcome back to Broken Brand. I'm your host Stuart, and I just want to touch real quick on this article that people have been talking about all day, just getting around to it. Former soccer player, or football player, as the world sees it, Megan Rapinoe, says that an injury during the championship game that was her last professional game is proof God doesn't exist. Well, this is definitely kind of clickbaity type of article. Yes, she actually did say it. She is not a Christian. She does not believe in God, according to her. These are her words, not mine. So, she's a famous soccer player because she's been in the Women's League, been to the World Cup, but she's more famous for her radical takes and quite insane talking points and insane actions that she's done over her career versus her actual skill as a soccer player. Like if I think who's a great female soccer player, the first one that comes to my mind is Mia Hamm, not Megan Rapinoe. So she says this because basically about 6 minutes into her match, just standing there and planting, boom, pop, her Achilles tendon pop, snaps, tears, something. I don't know the extent of it. It hasn't really been reported the extent of the injury. That probably won't happen until she actually has an MRI. I had a friend that had this happen about a month ago, and it was a similar injury. She was playing pickleball, planted her foot to put pressure and pivot, and pop. Now, I know that Rapinoe said this in kind of jest, but not really. So I just want to break this down and give a quick intro to Hamartiology. Yes, I said it right. It's a difficult word for me to say, but basically the doctrine of sin when it comes to the Bible. And this is simply put, this is the study of what sin is, how it came about, where it originated, and how it affects the world and the world today. So, my first complaint about this whole thing is you shouldn't pick such a mundane thing to be like, this is proof that God doesn't exist. I mean, that's stupid. Okay, yeah, you got injured on your last game. That stinks. It does. I'm not going to deny that. It stinks. Does it mean proof that God doesn't exist? Well, if you don't believe God and serve God and love God with all your heart, your mind, and your soul, why would God step in to prevent this injury? I'm just saying. And if it's like, okay, if anything bad happens to you, that's proof that God doesn't exist. I would like y'all to read, Megan, I would like you to go and read Fox's Book of Martyrs. The Christian life was never supposed to be an easy one, despite what Joel Osteen says. The Christian life is a life of struggle because you will be hated because you follow me, as Jesus said. So let's get into what sin is and what it's really done. Just a quick overview. What sin is it is a separation from man from God. Simple as that. We were tainted with sin. The world was tainted with sin. Everything was tainted with sin. After the original sin allowed sin to enter the world. In the garden, everything was perfect. Sin entered the world and it was corrupted. You can read in Genesis that it lists some of the curses that God put upon the world because of it. Women will have hard childbirth, will be enemy to the serpent. Men will have to till the fields and work to maintain food and vegetables and garden and just farm, which he never did before. Adam never had to do that before. It was already done. So these are just a few of the things that are listed, but we can see a lot more the world has corrupted. Because of sin, nature itself is corrupted. Such as sickness, cancer. Awful atrocities in the world. Does Megan point out any of those? No. She's inconvenienced on her last match as a professional in her chosen field. This one small instance is proof that God exists. And this is the most self-centered, narcissistic take to take. I mean, not any of the genocides that has happened throughout history. Not any of the mass extinction events such as the flood, or the fact that, terrorism exists, evil people exist, murderers exist, and other things. This is just something, this is where she decides to draw the line. She was inconvenienced in a game. Megan, I will take your Achilles tendon injury over the last 100 bad things that happened to me in my life, and I wouldn't have to go back 5 years to pull up 100. I'm sorry that you have such a tough life because you hurt your Achilles tendon, and you're going to have about 6 to 8 weeks and a minor surgery to fix it. I've lost friends and family to horrible diseases throughout my life. I've seen terrible things that ripped friends and families apart from things that just cannot be explained. That why it happened, I don't know. But it did. You have to rest in the fact that part of this, the divine plan that God has, it causes us to struggle. It causes us to struggle, so we seek Him over ourselves. So, I just want to encourage all you Christians out there, and even non-believers. This is a topic that is a complex one. The doctrine of sin is not something that's just, oh, this is it. This is something that's been talked about for centuries. And what I recommend, you can go to YouTube and find some videos on it, but I do recommend that you read about it and seek the knowledge yourself. And to do this, the best way to do it is to get a good systematic theology textbook. Well, maybe not textbook's the wrong word. A systematic theology book. I've got several different authors. Wayne Grudem's Systematic Theology is great. Louis Berkhof's excellent. His Systematic Theology is great. You got Charles Hodge, Systematic Theology. Danny Akin's A Theology of the Church. Reformed Systematic Theology by Joel Beatty. There's so many good ones out there that I'm going to put a few that you can read for free on the internet or download to your computer or device and just start reading. It just spells out all the things that you'll need to start to learn more and dive deeper into your theological study of the Christian faith. Every Christian should have one. And it's one of those things that I never had one until I went to seminary. And then I was like, why didn't anybody tell me to read one of these? Some of the topics are hard. I'm not going to lie. Some are very deep, very detailed, and take a lot of knowledge to get to that point, to understand it. But you can start with soteriology, which is the study of the Holy Spirit. That's a good one. It's a little complex, but I would go right there, right after the Doctrine of Sin. Those are the two most important things. Understanding what sin is and how it affects us, and the need for the Holy Spirit and soteriology. That's just something you just need to know as a Christian. So what I'm going to do, in the description below, I'm going to put 3 links to systematic theology books that you can read now. I believe it's Augustus Strong, Louis Berkhof, and Wayne Grudem, or ones I found that you can read for free. But there's more out there. I want you to be comfortable in seeking the truth. And, you can go around and you can read all these books by famous authors and Christian authors and learn these things and something like that. But sometimes you just need to sit down and be like, no, I need to start from the ground up. It doesn't matter where you are in your faith. You could have been a Christian for a year, 40 years. Doesn't matter. You will be enriched by taking this journey into learning about the doctrine of sin and other doctrines of the Christian faith. So this is just kind of a video that the statement just rubbed me the wrong way. It was just, you could have picked anything to say, this happened, this proved God doesn't exist. I could probably give a much better argument than hers for hurting her Achilles tendon to prove that God doesn't exist. And this is just one of those bad takes from these really kind of wild characters that are in our world. And I want you, as a Christian or someone who's seeking truth, to understand that this isn't true. This is a selfish, narcissistic take on her being inconvenienced at a time that she felt important at the end of her career, professional career. This isn't God doesn't exist, that God does exist but hates me. This is an inconvenience. This is brought about by sin. This is brought about a world because of sin. We have disease. We have our genetic code has been weakened. We have defects. This is all has resulted from sin and our continuing sin as we continue to harm ourselves through actions, personally, globally. Just it exists. And I just want to jumpstart this topic to get you to go out there and learn more, enrich yourself. There's no harm in questioning when someone says something like this, if it's true. This is the weakest argument I've ever heard in my entire life for proof that God doesn't exist. It really is. And I want people out there to know that this is a terrible take and she's wrong. But the truth is at our fingertips. If you don't have a Bible, comment below. I will find a way to get you a Bible. I promise. I go to garage sales all the time. I literally have a crate of Bibles because someone says, I don't have a Bible. Come here. Come pick one out. Take your pick. I don't care. I've got all versions, all types of translations, and I'll gladly help you find a Bible. You can get about 50 for free from Amazon right now. You can download hundreds of different versions, hundreds of different translations, hundreds of languages for free. I will help you find a way to get a Bible. Just comment below if you need help. I will gladly do that for you. But until the next video, as I always say, I love you all, and there's nothing you can do about it.